Welcome to the Early Morning Life Podcast. I'm your host, Tracy Early, and on this podcast, I share life-changing tips, tools, information, motivation, and inspiration to bring light to your life as you tune in week after week to the Early Morning Life Podcast. And as I speak today, it is a bright, sunny day here in the Cincinnati area. I just love the summer longer days with the sunshine throughout the day. Now, we don't always get that here in Cincinnati. In fact, it gets kind of gray and dark at times, but today's just been a great day. So I'm hoping as you're listening today that it catches you on a bright, sunny day wherever you are and you're enjoying it as much as I am. So today I want to talk about something that I think all of us are tuned into right now, or most of us, and I'll get to that in a second. But I want to kind of pose a question to kind of set this up. And the question is, when you think about other people's success, are you a hater or a celebrator? Let that one kind of marinate for you. Are you a hater or celebrator? Do you celebrate other people's success? Or are you someone who hates on other people's success, who criticizes, who is jealous of other people? Just think about that as we go through this episode of the Early Morning Light Podcast. So what sparked this was something that, as I said, we're probably all tuned into, and it is the early games in the career of Caitlin Clark, who's the WNBA basketball player who just came into the league, arguably the greatest shooter in the history of college basketball, and has already come into the WNBA professional league and has made an impact. But even though she's making such an impact, there appears to be some people who were just hating on her. Like, I don't even understand it. And I know there's different opinions about whether or not that's actually happening, but I mean, there's quotes, there's people in interviews who are just hating on this young lady. And this is someone who is probably the most visible professional women's athlete to come into the WNBA. So she's brought a lot of attention to the game, a lot of revenue, a lot of money to the game. The games are selling out wherever she goes. And there's just a huge fan base and people who want to see her succeed. There's a huge following of young female athletes, even some of the male athletes who look up to this young lady. And she, from what I can see, for the most part, she is walking this walk in the right way in terms of what she's representing. I see her staying after games, signing autographs, walking under the tape that's supposed to stop her from interacting with the fans, and then still signing autographs for minutes and minutes at a time. She seems to just be willing to do this thing the right way. But there just seems to be, in my opinion, way too many people who are hating on this young lady. I understand a lot of people talk about the physicality of the WNBA game and that's just part of the game. And I get that. I understand a physical game. Nothing against those players who are making basketball plays on the WNBA basketball courts. Nothing against that. Sometimes it gets a little physical. I get that. Sometimes people get screened hard. Sometimes there's harder fouls. But some of what seems to be happening now just seems to be intentional and quite honestly could put her at jeopardy of being injured. So don't really like that part of the game or what's happening. And then there's all of the comments, all the negative comments that people are sharing on social media and other places and interviews that just seem to come from a place of just hating on this young lady. And I don't really get it. Like, I love the game of basketball. I like Angel Reese and what she represents, and some of the other players, Kelsey Plum, all these guys, these ladies who have done so much for the game and who play this game the right way. I love it. I love it, but I don't really like or enjoy the hate that is being thrown at this young lady. Again, I think she's going to be fine. I think she has a core support team around her, so I'm not concerned about her. But there are people who have even gone as far as to say that she's really not as good as she was projected to be, and I get that. Everyone has their growing pains or their adjustments they have to make from a college to professional game, but there's no denying when someone has 150 plus points, 50 plus rebounds, and 50 plus assists in their first 10 games, that's someone who's balling. Yes, she's got a lot of turnovers, and I think she's making those adjustments. She's got to clean that up. But there is no question that this young lady is a phenomenal player who is going to make a major impact on the game, and she already is. That is going to bring a lot of positive attention and revenue to the game that's going to put this game under this microscope that it hasn't been under before. No, she's not the only one. There are other players, including Angel Reese and some of the other ladies who are making an impact. But we can't deny what Caitlin Clark has brought to the women's game of basketball. And I just think it's awesome. So the question hit me this week was, and I had to ask myself, like when I'm around someone or I'm experiencing someone who is really successful or just successful in some area, do I hate or do I celebrate that person? I like to think that most of the time, if not all the time, I'm willing to celebrate. I love the energy of being around someone who is making an impact, who is successful in some way, especially people close to me. I just love the energy of that. In fact, my first thought is to think about and study the person and try to figure out what are they doing that I may want to emulate or to learn from. That's kind of where my mind goes first. So I don't always understand when someone is hating on someone because they are successful or jealous of someone because they're doing something at a high level successfully, or someone who is discounting someone's ability and their impact or the success that is obvious. I mean, it is obvious that Caitlin Clark is an amazing basketball player and that she is doing things the right way. Her impact with the fans, her impact with the league and interviews. I mean, it's special. It's a special thing that is only going to bring positive energy, positive influence on the WNBA and the game of basketball. I mean, there's no question about that. So I really don't understand why there's so much hate. Now, I realize not everyone's hating on her. I mean, she still has a huge fan base, and that's going to continue to grow, and I think she's going to be okay. Sure, the Indiana Fever is just not a really good team right now, so she's going to have to play through that, and the team is going to have to continue to gel together and get better, but not really my point. My point is, and my question again, is when you are around someone or you know of someone who is successful, is your natural inclination to celebrate that person or to hate on them? Are you a hater or a celebrator? And I want to go as far as to say that I would like to encourage you to celebrate the people in your life, the people around you, the people you know of who are making a major impact, who are being successful in whatever arena that they're in. There is an energy that comes. And here's the deal. There's enough success to be had by all of us if we approach it with the right energy. I mean, success is not a finite thing. Everyone has an opportunity to step into what they consider success. And there is an energy that is motivating when you embrace someone else's success and take it even further to celebrate that person's success. And I just wanted to encourage people. And I know not everyone's going to listen to the Early Morning Light podcast. I get that. A lot of people do. But I just wish some of the people who are hating on Caitlin Clark would take a self-assessment of themselves and think about what they're actually doing. And if it is who it's helping. Really, no one. It's definitely not helping the WNBA for people to be criticizing Caitlin Clark and hating on her instead of celebrating what she brings to the game. So I just wanted to leave everyone with that thought, with that question. Am I a hater or a celebrator when it comes to other people's success? And I want to encourage you to think about some ways that you can celebrate the people around you who are successful, wherever you work in your business. If there's someone who is really successful, maybe even more successful than you at this time, what would it mean to you? What energy would it bring to your life, to your career, to your business, if you were to celebrate those people who are already achieving at a high level, who are successful in their own right? What would that take? And this is what I know. It takes a lot more negative energy to hate on someone than it does to celebrate. In fact, personally, I've never, and I have to be honest, that there may have been times when I have been, have made, I don't know, hating types of comments or jealous comments about someone. Maybe not too often, but that never really feels good. Or I can't say that I've made the comments, but I've gotten sucked into conversations where people are hating on someone because of their success, and it never really feels good. And I think most people, if you're listening, and if you're going to be honest, would say that energy is not an energy that you really enjoy being in. And I would even go as far as to say that it's important to question, like, if you're hating on someone else's success rather than celebrating, where is that coming from? What does that say about you and where you are in your own personal journey that you would hate on someone just because of their success? Think about that one. And again, I encourage everyone to think about ways, wherever you are, starting today, to celebrate. How can you celebrate someone else's success? Someone you're around on a daily basis, wherever you work, whatever your arenas you're in. How can you celebrate other people? And I would say, be specific about it. Who is someone you know who is successful that maybe you've hated on, maybe not, but that you can actually start to celebrate, maybe even verbally, to that person? I'm going to go as far as to say that you'll benefit from that as well, from celebrating. So Tracy Early Morning Light podcast, encouraging everyone to be a celebrator and not a hater. Talk to you soon.